Come on, please. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is episode number 46 of the Nine Dart Podcast, your one-stop shop for talking tungsten. It's Lorenzo and Josh. We're coming in on episode 50, by the way, Josh, which is unbelievable to think about. But we are here for another big edition of the show off the back of the Winmau World Masters in Milton Keynes over the weekend.
Yes.
Josh, a very strong tournament, I thought it was. How are you on this? We're recording this on a Wednesday and a couple of days before the Premier League darts.
Absolutely. Yes, looking forward to that. But yes, Milton Keynes was the home of the first major tournament for the year. And boy, oh boy, it was a fantastic tournament, wasn't it? There was so many high averages, lots of high checkouts. There was lots of really, really close fixtures, and it was really, really good standard overall. Would you have to agree with that one?
It is our first thoughts was recapping the World Masters. Again, a strong tournament. The move to the set play and the expanded field has done this event wonders. And so I thought there were a few different elements of it. The production from the TV side of things was absolutely excellent. Wayne Mardell and Chris Mason in the same commentary box was a lot of fun. The LED screen to the sides where they were doing some different things over there. I felt like the production was upper level and as good as we've ever seen for a darts match. They clearly took out the biggest thing, the biggest problem with the graphic from the World Series and added a dart to make it more clear who was throwing first in a leg.
I did notice that.
So that was an uptick on what we saw from the World Series events. I thought a very strong start for the production team now behind the ITV events, and I wonder if it's the guys over at Sky Sports are looking over their shoulder going, okay, we've got a bit of work to do, and maybe we can do some extra stuff as the Premier League approaches. But a strong start for the new production team as well, and a very good tournament. The performance levels were just absolutely fantastic. Everywhere you looked, there was something going on.
Absolutely. It was good to see the guys who had just got their tour card play, Jimmy Vanschke and Shane McGurk. Unfortunately, they didn't get the victories in the end, but it was just good to see them play. Had pretty solid performances, I've got to say. But it was just nice to see them on the stage, and hopefully we see more of them throughout the year, no doubt.
And just carrying on from this in our crazy moments, you can see here on screen for our YouTube viewers, I might read out the first few for our audio listeners. 108.64 highest average, 3-dart average there for Luke Woodhouse, and 108.51 for Gowan Price in round one victories. Both Welshmen looked very strong in that opening round, and obviously you'd expect the Lukes to be there several times over a lot of really strong performances and a very strong standard. How many averages? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 averages over 105, including one in the final itself from Humphries. The standard was just absolutely fantastic. 104 average, 0.72 for the other finalists. So a very, very strong performance all the way through. Big guys really standing up there. You see Jan van Veen there with one of the best averages of the tournament, 102.93 in a whitewash loss to Luke Humphries. That's how well the Lukes were this weekend. You didn't get too close for a couple of occasions there for Littler, but very strong standard. A good way to see that that the guys off the World Series weren't fatigued too much. A couple were. We'll get to them later. But a lot of these guys were really strong. A lot of guys who we hadn't seen perhaps for a while because they went out earlier in the World Championships. Someone like a James Wade put in a few strong performances throughout. Luke Woodhouse looked really, really good. I said last week Luke Woodhouse is going to have a great year, and I stand by it. I think he's due for a few big runs in a few events, and maybe even a Pro Tour title. Josh Rock as well. On that list as well, and Gary, and just a strong performance from so many names, and a great way to start the year as well.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. You look at those results in the loss bracket as well: 105, 103, 102, 102, and I thought James Horrell was pretty good. 101. We were thinking same with sort of like a Justin Hood type archetype. Would this be sort of a guy who would sort of be a one-hit wonder or sort of carry on? But it seems like, he's starting to carry on that form. Obviously, he's versing someone of elite caliber of Gowan Price, but still just to be hitting that form in this early part of the year, it's great to see.
Yes, so yeah, strong performances all around. We had a couple crazy moments throughout the event. Luke Humphries hit a 9-darter as well in that match against
He
Luke
did.
Woodhouse.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Well done, Humphries. He looked excellent, and I thought, well, obviously the best two players met in the final, the two Lukes, but they looked absolutely on, especially Luke Humphries, who looked as good as we've seen him for the last few events. He's been there's been a few poor performances in there on occasion, or he's just not been as polished, but he looked really strong. I like the new shirt as well. So
yeah,
looks
great.
really, really good. But the craziest moment, the best moments, some of you may have heard this. If you haven't, enjoy. This is
OnlineDarts.com.
Yes, courtesy of OnlineDarts.com. This is, and that's the one I took this video off, but it's available in several different places. Gary Anderson, after his round 1 win, I don't even know what was the question leading into this. It was something about like,
I'm entirely sure.
the new guys coming through and that sort of thing, and a youngsters,
something like that.
And he gave us something absolutely fantastic. Take it away, Gary. This was hilarious.
No, it's, I mean, listen, I've watched, right, I don't YouTube, but I'm watching, we've got, what do you call them? Influencers. Yeah. How to play darts. I've never seen the bloke in my life. I watched him play darts, he's absolutely so why watch him? Kids need to learn they can go buy a set of darts that cost you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 quid, instead of spending hundreds of pounds on darts and play the game. Influencers, there's my influencers. What a load of absolutely you're an influencer. But it's the truth though. How many times do you watch boys on YouTube who want to play like a pro? Who is he? What, they're actually pros?
No, there's a few influencers who...
Oh yeah, and they actually know about darts, do they?
Well, that's
see, you're answering the question there. You know who I'm talking about. It's a load of rubbish. So for young kids, it ain't good. Just let them play darts.
I love the commentary in the background of the people who actually were laughing as well. It's great.
Yeah, but I've watched that so often. That came to me in a dream last night. I saw Gary doing that exact rant. I love Gary Anderson so much.
Me too.
One of my favorites. He rattled off about 5-10 points there. That it's kind of weird to know where to start. Because again, it's kind of came out of nowhere. He must have had this in the back of his mind. Like, right, oh, you mentioned young guys. I want to talk about the YouTubers. I loved at one point he goes, "You know who I'm talking about?" It's like, well, do we, Gary? There's about 5-10 options here, baby.
Yeah, we did mention that. Yeah.
Phil Bars on his podcast said he knows exactly who Gary was talking about. He obviously wasn't going to reveal it, but there's a few leading contenders, we might say.
I think we both know. Yeah.
I think there's a few up there. I need to say this now because it's hard to tell with the internet whether you can't tell the tone of whether people are serious or not. Gary did make it clear that he never heard of these guys before, so it won't be someone like a Matthew Edgar who Edgar likes to remind us all the time he once beat Gary Anderson with a 170 finish, or a Stephen Bunting or anybody like that. It would be one of these non-tour card holders, and there's probably still a place for them in the sport because they do bring in a different audience.
They do.
At one point, Gary was there, buy a set of darts, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 quid. Unfortunately, with the price of tungsten, as I mentioned last week, going up and up, a lot of that isn't
feasible.
Isn't possible at the moment. But I thought it was very funny. And you hear this throughout. He said it when Luke Littler first burst onto the scene. He was like, just let the kid play darts. I'm not even going to try split section. But that's one refrain from it. And I think the main point he was making there, and that's the best one, is you got to make sure that the kids are enjoying it before you worry about what darts they want to pick up and what price it is, and trying to learn off someone who's never been on a PDC stage, that sort of thing. Oh, Gary.
Very true. Very, very true. I love how he just said it from his heart. He just did not give a rat's backside about it. It was so, so good. But yes, we sort of know who those people are, but I want to track your mind back to when Ollie Howard and Peter Wachuri played the Modus Super Series, right? And I mentioned that Ollie Howard, he's technically, he markets himself as an influencer, right? He won the tournament alongside Peter Wachuri, and then he got a weekly Group C debut. Since then, I've been watching him. He's been playing a lot of county games. He was on the verge of actually going to Q School, but I think finances and a few other external factors limited his capabilities to do that. But he's someone who, I'm not sure if he's talking about him. I hope it's not. There are other guys in that pull hitters group who he might be talking about. I think hopefully he's not labeling him out, because I really think he has the potential to go to that extra level. He's averaging like 80, 85 here and there that I've been seeing, which is a quality Q school standard. We mentioned those numbers of 83
to 93.
Exactly. That's spot on. Yeah. So he's in that sort of numbers there. But in terms of, it was just hilarious. It just burst out laughing the first time I heard it. He just doesn't care. He doesn't care. I think he's at an age where the media and the responses from players can be really robotic.
Yeah.
And I feel like now he just said stuff that I don't care. I'm saying it from my heart. You can see what you want and go from there. But just so funny. But
it's amazing now how often.
I do agree.
And this has happened in a lot of sports. We both follow Australian football very closely as well.
Yes, we do. Go boys.
Yeah. But for those just who maybe listeners for the first time, Carlton supporter Josh, Geelong supporter me. It feels like now a lot of the big stories from the matches is like Damien Hardwick can play about the umpires or something similar. Like, and now we're getting this a lot in darts. Like Stephen Bunting does, one interview and then people get upset at him, and then Gary says something and it's funny, or James Wade says something and it divides opinion. James Wade is another one who was amazing, and it's almost like you have to watch all these press conferences now. They're almost more entertaining than some of the matches, or they're more of a talking point. Like we've been talking about Gary Ansett. We haven't talked about how well he played or didn't play. He played reasonably well.
That's right.
At the World Masters. The most interesting thing about Gary Anderson at this tournament was the fact that he got in front of the microphones and said, "What a load of
garbage."
And just absolutely, I loved it. I love Gary.
Me too.
He's hopefully we can continue to see him, play well and go deep in tournaments just for more opportunities in press conferences.
Exactly.
Very amusing, very funny, and well done. Well done for speaking your mind there, Gary. Not everybody does that, and obviously people are allowed to have a different opinion or keep opinions to themselves if that's the way they wish to operate. But Gary was asked a question and he answered it in a very honest and very funny way.
It was.
Well done, Gary. Hopefully I just hope we keep seeing him for as long
me too.
He keeps on going.
He keeps
going
good.
deep in tournaments.
He was
One
good.
of the things, Josh, in all seriousness,
the second round.
I love to see this year, more than many other things, is I would like. Gary Anderson has said the Grand Slam of darts is his favorite tournament, but he's never actually won it, and he's made like 3 finals and lost. So I'd love to see Gary pick up a Grand Slam of darts title or something similar this year. And if he can string together a few good performances that he still has in him on the big stage, then it's still possible we get one more Gary major, which would be great.
Know.
And hopefully he gets into the top 4, so he turns down the Premier League just for that. Oh, the drama. Right, let's go to one of the best, probably the best Scottish player of all time, with no disrespect to the late Jockey Wilson, to the best darts player on the planet right now, one of the best of all time already. Luke Littler wins the World Masters. He beat Luke Humphries, so the 2 guys who I thought would go out in semi-finals did make the final. Fantastic weekend, but there was a little bit of trouble along the way. Only a 98.62 average in the first round, and Mike DeDecker missed 1 match start at double 11. And at that point, I was like, hand him the trophy now. And we Luke Humphries and Van Veen in the final. That's exactly what happened. We've seen this movie before. 4-1 win over Ross Smithall and Seth Play, of course. Seth's the best of 3 legs, 107.88 average. 4-0 win over Josh Rock, 105.92. Looked extremely good. Rocky,
that's very surprising.
That was as poor as Rocky's played for a long time now.
I know, I did say that. Yeah, very average.
He gets better. I don't anticipate
I'm sure he will.
Be down there for that much longer, but it was, one of those things that just happens. 5-4 go on Price, very entertaining.
1 match start at tops.
But the mistake Price made there wasn't that dart at tops. It was a very well thrown down. It just didn't go in. The problem was he was scoring too slowly, so he's back on 107 and gave himself too much to do. And then fantastic final with Luke Humphries, who really clawed his way back in the middle of the game, but won with 104.72 average. To get the first to 6 sets and pick up the title. Luke Humphries was calling him the best player in the world and one of the best players of all time. He's 2 away. Again, we're back into this what is a PDC major thing, which, PDC, just make it clear for us. European Championship and World Cup of Darts are the big ones he haven't won yet.
Yes.
Have the World Cup of Darts in the biggest tournaments in the world. I'd rather win that over a World Series finals, but the World Series finals is also technically major, but it's an invitational, but it's based on something that it's a Premier League plus, but then also you have a qualifier where all the tour card holders are invited. It's just a mess. And yet it's played in a fantastic environment and stadium, a venue. Anyway, that's around for another day. but 2 away when you look at it that way with the European Championship, and the 2 in Germany, unsurprisingly, are the ones he hasn't got yet. It has been. We might look, if you look broader among darts, there probably isn't someone dominating their sport as much at the moment, Josh, and there isn't someone doing it who has ever done it at such a young age, not just coming straight in. There have been people who've come straight in and who have excelled immediately. There's been quite a few in F1, like the Schumachers and Hamiltons, but no one's really done that at the age that he did. He won a lot of these before he was 18, and now he's doing it before he's 20. It's
19 now.
Absolutely fantastic, and yeah, very much solidifying himself number 1 in the world, and will be there for quite a deal time longer.
Yeah, well, he's added £100,000 to his prize money on the Order of Merit for this year, so a nice little chunk of cash there. But he did have a few bumps along the way, surviving a couple match darts here and there one from Nadeka, one from Price. So it's just a game of moments. It's a game of moments in this game. But yeah, look, as soon as he went past that, he was superb. Every game, more or less in excess of 100, and the close battles he has, he just seems to find a way just to get over the line every single time. I don't know what it is. I don't know how he does it, but he just does it.
Defeated since that world final in matches going 20 plus legs. I think the Price and Humphries matches were in those categories as well. Still unbeaten.
Ridiculous stuff.
I don't
know how he does it.
Yeah, it's he has that extra level, and again, there's nobody in sport like Alcaraz just completed the Grand Slam over the same weekend, a career Grand Slam. But he's older and took a few more years than what's happening here. It's obviously a bit hard to compare the 4 tennis majors from this weird situation we have in darts. We have one big tournament, a few others underneath, and a few more underneath, and then a question mark over whether these should be counted with these other ones. But as opposed to to tennis, we got 4 tournaments roughly on the same level, with maybe one more prestigious than the others. But yeah, it is something very special indeed, and he's going to be so hard to beat in any tournament he rocks up for. And on most stages, he is. There were chances there where guys could have beaten him and knocked him out, and you had to get him there when he was averaging 98, because there was not a chance. Next worst average 101.5. If you don't beat him when he's playing that badly, you're never going to beat him when he's averaging 108.
Exactly right. Just found a way in the end, as he always does. So he keeps racking up those titles, and he's only got a couple. Again, it's a whole thing about what's deemed a major. We talked about that before. What's deemed the Triple Crown as well.
Yeah, well, he's done that. If there is,
he's done that. Yeah.
We just need someone to actually manufacture a proper crown, and we'll bring the old guys back. So Gary's done it, Phil has done it, Michael's done it, and the Lokes. We'll bring them all together. We'll crown them in a proper ceremony, and that way, put a little badge on their shirt to tell them, yes, this is an official thing that we are doing. It's more a Sky Sports thing than a PDC thing. And so is majors when you think about it. It's more a media thing than a PDC thing. But very strong weekend. A couple of close moments in there, but it still shows that there are a couple of players who can beat him. Price has still got. He hasn't won a lot of matches recently, but he's been close. Humphries and Van Veen are probably in that upper echelon category, but there aren't many players at the moment right now. Like you don't trust. Maybe Josh Rock can give him a game or that sort of thing, and and when the other Premier League guys are on, then yes, absolutely, they're top quality. But at the moment, Lillard just finds these extra gears, and you have to beat him when he's not playing as well. And look, we saw that at the Premier League playoffs finals night, and it has happened before. It just doesn't happen often. And if you don't take your chance in those earlier formats, he runs away with it. Seemingly sensational.
Right. No, exactly right. Couldn't have said any better myself. Just an incredible weekend for the 19-year-old now. Geez, he's still so young, isn't he? He's burst onto the scene when he was 16, and now 3 years down the track, he's just winning everything still. It's
European
remarkable.
Championship, World Cup of Darts with England. That's the only. We'll put them together. If he wins the World Cup of Darts, he'll be technically close to, maybe he's not. It doesn't matter. But hopefully he wins the World Cup of Darts before he wins the European Championship, and that way we can say now he's got the set instead of having this week. Well, has he got the set? Is there another one still left? And obviously there were like older events like the Champions League and the Las Vegas Desert Classic, which I hope they bring back one day, but that don't get held anymore and haven't been for
Melbourne Darts Masters.
Well, there's no Melbourne Darts Masters anymore. Phil Taylor's last ever title in darts was in Melbourne.
That's true. Great ball knowledge.
Yes, right. Well done, Luke Littler. Extraordinary weekend, and you gotta do a lot more to beat him. Positive surprises, I guess. Josh has thrown Damon Hetcher in there. I don't think he had a particularly good tournament. I thought he was awful in his first round match, but Michael Van Gogh was worse, so he won. I guess there's some positive signs for Damo that he's able to crack on in some places. But I thought Gowen Price he shouldn't be as far. Well, how far down is he in the rankings? Like 10 or 12. Like he's much better than that at the moment, and very good to see. We'll get to the Premier League later, Josh, but I think the 4 semi-finalists we got this weekend, we might see them a lot more in the Premier League. But talk to me about Damo.
Yeah. I just thought, well, I always like, back in the Aussie for sure. Sure, MVG had let's just say it was pretty garbage, but I think it was awful. It was garbage. It was, and you'll talk about him in a sec. But no, I just thought Damo looked okay. Sure, the average was best, but I think he just started to find his groove, and then against Dobie, again, narrow loss with the 4-3 loss, 95 average. But I just think he was starting to slowly but surely find his game back again. He was decent on the doubles. He looked set, but Dobie was just a fraction too good. But I don't know. I just thought he was a fraction better than some of the rest in terms of result-wise. And, yeah, I've been liking what I'm seeing him early on. Can he go further in these TV events? We hope so, but we'll find out. But I think Price is the main one for sure. Made all the way to the semi-final and just lost that best-of-9 set encounter. Yeah, no doubt.
He had his opportunities.
He did.
Michael. I'm going to say something, Josh. I'm not sure if anyone's ever said this in the history of darts. No one has ever said this.
Let's hear it.
Michael Van Gogh in the Premier League might struggle. Like, could you see him finishing like bottom 2 somewhere in there? He may very well.
I could. Yeah.
It's just,
absolutely.
And I hope, and I know it's going to happen this week, which is what makes it so frustrating. I know he's going to average 105 against my man Stephen, and then he's going to average 83 in the next match. He's going to get away. This is the problem with Michael Van Gogh, and I don't know if it's a psychology thing with the players. Obviously, Van Gogh was, take it back 10 years, the best darts player in the world. Anytime
no doubt.
He won. He was just a power scorer, just finished everything, averaged 123, and it could have been more in the Premier League. Most famously. I like mentioning that just because Josh thinks about all the potentials there. I
do.
Says 123.4, and he goes
17 perfect darts. James Wade.
We're a long way from that version of Michael Van Gogh, and he had that swagger and that bounce back in the Middle East, and I don't know what was going on, and you never know what's going on completely behind the scenes because we don't get a full look inside these players' heads, nor should we. But he just didn't have that same sort of composure. And I was talking about the psychology thing. I wonder if some of these players still worry about Michael Van Gogh might come out of nowhere and roll me out of this tournament. Like, he's not the same player. He's losing to Challenge Tour call-ups now on the Pro Tour. He's not showing up to many Pro Tour events. He famously did make Minehead last year. So I don't want to see Stephen finish last in this year's Premier League, but if there's anybody who I worry could finish last, it's probably Michael. And if he plays well, if he's consistently averaging in the 90s, then well done. I just don't want him getting away with. He's been getting away with murder, Josh. He's averaging he's playing awfully, but he's playing against Tatsunami, who can't hit a double, and then he comes back in the next match against William O'Connor, who was amazing in round 1, and all of a sudden he finds it. If he averages in the high 90s all the way through, makes finals 9, makes the final, then very well done, you've earned that spot. What I don't want to see is Michael Van Gogh average 88 and then 102 and then 91 and then 100 and then 78 and still somehow we get to the last night and still Michael Van Gogh can still make the Premier League. No. I could see him struggling. I don't have him in my 4-4 finals night at all, and I could see him having a real tough go at it. Perhaps maybe not to the level of Stephen Bundy last year, losing the first half of his games, but even if he wins, it feels like that was a bit of, he got away with that one. Other guy missed darts a double. He won legs he probably should have lost. It just did not look good at all against Damon Hedren. Again, Damon did not play very well either, but he wasn't as bad as Michael Van Gogh, and hence why he won 3-1. I know on the 3-dot average, Michael Van Gogh was higher, but look, you watch the games and you use the eye test, and he wasn't as good, and Michael could struggle if because I don't have the confidence against a lot of these players. And I tell you what, Josh, and we'll talk about this in a second. the match he plays against Stephen Bunting first week of the Premier League is absolutely massive, not just for the league, but for the entire year. Like, if they don't win that match, then they might struggle to win the next several matches in the Premier League, and then that spills over to they can't win on the Euro Tour, and then they struggle at the UK Open, and then at the time the World Match Play, they haven't won a game in weeks, and they're struggling on the World Series. They might beat a international qualifier, but then struggle against a fellow Premier League player. It's very. That first game has so much writing on it, and I just hope he plays well, even if he doesn't win.
I think to summarize that up is 2 words: consistently inconsistent.
Is he ever?
Yeah, I reckon that's pretty spot on. But no, you're exactly right. He has so many peaks and troughs in his game at the moment. Again, he's not that vintage MVG from 10 years ago where he was just absolutely dominant and winning everything that came his way. He's just not that same guy at the moment, but can he turn it around? I hope so. We like seeing MVG be as good as he was, but it just doesn't look like it at the moment. But again, there's alarm bells ringing if he doesn't win this first game against your man. I think if he doesn't and he has an absolute shocker and loses 6-0 with a 75 average, then it could be worrisome signs.
Pick up a couple of legs, he'll average at least in the 80s, mid-80s, but it's a question of whether he can find those extra gears. And who knows?
That's true. That's true. There we go.
He's done it so often in the Premier League, 7-time champion, but
it's true.
But yeah, not often has anyone said, could Mike Van Gerwen, could he struggle in the Premier League? It's plausible, and
it is.
Anyone's going to finish last that isn't Bunting. It might be Van Gerwen with just the way he's been all over the place recently. And against those, I've been saying he's been getting away with murder because he hasn't been playing the top players. But in the Premier League, you're playing the best 7 of the other best players in the world. So if he's playing poorly, like, he will be punished.
That's right. No, spot on. Exactly right. You've got a.
I didn't want to throw it in there because it was too obvious, and
yeah.
But here's the funny thing about Stephen. First round, thought he played pretty well. Again, start and end.
Yeah, 3-1.
Middle part of the match.
Graph, 98.
It was a 98 average. It could have
98.96 to be exact.
That's a double. He was bad in the first couple of sets, and then in the next 2 sets, to be honest, I kind of skipped through a lot of it. But what I saw, I thought, okay, he's playing reasonably well here. He might even play better than Danny Knott, but he still didn't win a set. For Stephen at the moment, and this is what I think he's deserving in the Premier League and Danny Knott isn't. At the moment, his timing is off. When he can't afford a trebleless visit, he hits a trebleless visit. He scores really well, and then his doubling is all over the place. Now he's struggling to pick up a treble. Now, by the time he does, the leg's already pretty much lost. His timing's a bit off. Now, I'm more confident that Stephen will get back that timing than Danny Knott is, who I said several times last year, his Euro Tour form at the start of the year was awful, and then he found this timing again. But as we saw in the match against Luke Humphries, that timing can disappear, and he struggled to hit a double at all in the quarterfinal match against Humphries. Now, Stephen,
that's true.
Neither of them would have been Luke Humphries in that quarterfinal.
No,
that was kind of
how he is going.
Playoff match. And the one good thing for Stephen, and this isn't based on my bias. You can look at the facts honestly, and I do mean that he isn't defending like a ridiculous amount of money until the World Championship. He made a quarterfinal at the UK Open. Was it quarterfinal or quarterfinal? Yeah, quarterfinal, lost to Humphries. Quarterfinal at the UK Open, so there's a little bit to come off there. But he was only beaten like second round of the match play, first round of the European Championship. Last 16 at the Slam. So it's not like he's got a ton of stuff coming off until we get to the World Championship where he made the semi-final that year.
Yeah, true.
So until we get to there, it's probably not a disaster, and it should also be noted with the prize money going up. Like, obviously, guys above will also be adding. But if he makes if he goes out second round of the World Match Play, that's going to be more money than what he won last year. So it's going to increase his prize money. So there's not too much concern. Unlike Michael, who's got bits coming off left, right, and center. Right, he's got a final at the match play. He's got a World Championship final there, and he's in more trouble. But I don't have too much worries for Stephen from a ranking point of view. I still anticipate him to be in the world's top 10 until we get to that World Championship, where we will see where it's game at, and who knows what the world will be like when we get to
currently 7th.
2026. That's the year we're in. But look, he was disappointing in the second round match. Thought he played well in the first round match. Thought he played better in the second half of the second round match. We'll see how it goes.
In the end, yeah.
Again, this match that he's going to play against Michael Van Gogh is so important. Right, Josh, what do we think of the Premier League? It's gonna slog on a bit, but if you can sit back and go, look, there's going to be darts every Thursday night, Friday morning here in Australia, and it's got some of the best darts players in the world. Like, maybe you don't think a guy or two shouldn't have been selected, and maybe you would have preferred to see another guy or two. But you can't say that these guys, there aren't many human beings on the planet that are better darts players than the 8. We've got Newcastle coming up this weekend. Antwerp, first 9 should be absolutely buzzing. With the two Lukes playing each other in the first Premier League match in Belgium as well. What are we anticipating in this year's Premier League, Josh? Particularly with some of the newer guys, Van Veen and Rock. How are we seeing?
Rock,
how is
Clayton.
Yeah, Clayton.
Obviously,
he's obviously been there several times, former winner.
Yeah.
Returning, yeah, I knew what you meant.
Returning, yeah.
What are we anticipating from this year's Premier League? Who's going to play well? Who's going to play not so well?
Well, I hope it's close, because obviously last year, in that sort of maybe last 3-4 nights of last year, it started to get a bit mundane, a bit boring, because it was the same guys versing the same guys, and bottom. Thank you. And the guys who were in that bottom half of the table were continually losing, and there was a huge difference. Obviously, Bunting was the main one between Bunting and say, MJ was sort of around that sort of 5th, 6th at the time, but
that would have been Van Gogh, and Van Gogh was around that point last year because he couldn't win a night.
Yeah, MJ. Yeah. So I just hope he doesn't slog on, and hopefully it's just really, really close throughout the whole duration of the tournament.
There's potential with this format that we could see a more even spread of players if they keep alternating.
I hope so.
The problem is it's hard to see anyone beating the two Lukes. And
exactly.
Gerwin and Van Veen are in good form. Bunting, Van Gerwen less so. We don't know what a Josh Rock.
Who knows what Josh Rock would bring?
Having an amazing Premier League just because it's a first time experience. He might, play reasonably well, win a night maybe at some point along the way.
Could shock someone. You don't know.
Belfast along the line is nightfall, so that's nice and early. So he'll get a crowd behind him there. But he's another one that. Maybe he won't play. I hope he plays well. It's good to see when Josh Rock plays well. But again, just off the back of his most recent match, you can really only go off what you most recently saw. And he didn't play darts very well the last time I saw him to his standard, to a Premier League standard. So
that's true.
We will see in that regard. Do you have 4 players that you think will make finals night, Josh? Do you have a top 4? I've already hinted at what my 4 are.
I haven't really got there yet. I could either make it up now, or we'll spend a little bit of time and get back to you next week.
Spend a little bit of time, maybe get to me a week ahead.
All right, we'll do that.
I think the 4 we saw make the semi-finals at Milton Keynes are definitely the hardest to beat at the moment. The 2 Lukes are fantastic. Van Veen just looks like he's one of maybe the only darts player to get better after dartitis. It's extraordinary. And
that is true
as well. Played well in last year's Premier League and looks good. So it's hard to see any of those 4. Maybe Johnny can make a run. I thought he played.
I was just going to ask about him.
The line against Gezi. So maybe. But those were Littler, Humphries, Van Veen, and Price were the 4 I had.
Okay.
It's going to be. You just hope it doesn't slog on too much. We see a little bit more variety, but I don't anticipate so much. I might talk about this when we get to the Darts Archive, but this Premier League format. I want to love the Premier League so much. It's such a good concept, but I feel like the format is holding it back from something a little bit different and a little bit more special.
That's true. Well, we'll find out. We'll see. I think after the first maybe 6 nights will give us an indication if it's going to slog on or if it's going to be close. I reckon 6 nights are big enough sample size for sure. But yeah, I've got question marks. How do you think Johnny will go? How do you reckon Josh Rock will go? Being either returning or new, Van Veen as well. I really hope he does well. I can see him just mentally thinking about it being in my top 4 as well, like you do. So. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the first 6 nights will tell us how that goes. So
the other thing that should be noted to Bunting is that Liverpool night is not early on. If it was early on, he could have got
night 12
behind him. Yeah, exactly. He could have got a home crowd behind him and really at least positive start to memories. But instead, he's up at Newcastle and then down to Antwerp and Glasgow and Belfast. So you never know. And then I think he's got. Maybe Gezi or Johnny in Cardiff from if my memory serves me right. And then night 7s, the 9 play he has to replay. So I'll play someone based on the standings. So it could be tough. But again, that first match, if Stephen's able to get a win on the first night, I will be very happy, and it'll be
I know
more
you will.
promising. Yeah, but I haven't heard anybody really mention this in this much detail, but that first match is so crucial, Josh, for the entire season for both Van Gogh. Maybe they both play poorly, for the whole season. Maybe they both play well. Maybe it doesn't matter. But I have the sense that whoever wins this match in night one of the Premier League, will have a better season than the other. I have this feeling that this match could be a real catalyst going forward. Especially then if they're able to, I think the winner plays Littler or Price, not Littler, sorry, Humphries or Price in the second
round
match in the semi-final of the night.
Yep.
So that could be certainly
interesting.
And I don't anticipate, but if they're able to get the upset, then wow, we're off to a great start here. So
if it's a tight tussle in that first game, then it could be real interesting. But
yeah, and maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they both play pretty well, and someone gets over the line 6-5, and the other guy goes, "Hey, you were just slightly better than me, but I'm increasing confidence." It's probably
you're
more
feeling good. Yeah.
For Stephen, just around. There was no controversy with Van Gogh in selection because he was top 4. We knew that, but when it's anything goes for the last 4, people aren't always going to agree with the 4 that was selected. So it's probably it's probably more important for Stephen than it is from Gogh from that sense. But it might be more important from Van Gogh just because he's defending more prize money.
That's true. Well, it's definitely important for both of them, no doubt. But is it more important for MVG or Bunting? I reckon it's fairly similar. But
it's probably more important for Bunting in the context of the Premier League because he lost all those games early.
If we're talking just Premier League,
for the course of his year.
Yes, if we're just talking Premier League, because obviously it was him, Noppert, Aspinall, and then I guess a Rory outside would be James Wade for that spot, and obviously Noppert. And so good point. Good Heavy Metal was definitely in that sort of mix, and obviously Noppert beat your man in the recent tournament. So I had to go online and just see the commentary behind it. It's like, oh yeah, this is why Noppert should be in the Premier League.
I haven't heard anything.
I had a look. It was interesting.
To be fair to those people, when Stephen won the Masters, many said that should get him in the Premier League over Peter Wright.
That's true.
At least. But again, but then that was before Danny Noppert played poorly against Luke Humphries. So maybe not.
We'll never know.
Again, if we had a challenger, he'd be great for the night in the Netherlands. And again, the challengers format.
Yes,
I'd love to see that back. I think if you put that last game of the night and maybe you get someone play second time, that could be something real good, real special. As it is.
Exactly right.
Right. And by the way, there's probably a few places and a few venues that I would muck around with Premier League. By the way, I think there's probably a better arena in Manchester. There's probably the Co-op. There's a better arena, I think, in the Netherlands as well. Rotterdam. So it's always Breezegate every time we go there. Maybe there's a few clustered. It's sort of in the middle of England in that sort of Nottingham, Birmingham, Leeds, Sheffield area where we probably don't need all of them, arguably. But Look, the Premier League will drag on a little bit probably, but if you sit back and go, these are some of the best darts players in the world, and there's going to be darts on the telly every Thursday night or Friday morning for the next 17 weeks. I think we can get through it. I think we'll get through it together, Josh, on the podcast. Let's get through it together.
I think we will. Yeah, I think that there'll be something new every week, hopefully. But yeah, we got what the PDC believes is the best 8 currently in the world. Obviously, top 4 order of merit, and then the other 4 is again, is it marketable names? Is it what they think? It's probably a mix of both, to be honest. But 17 weeks of telly.
Like I said, Josh, last year, you can't have under the way they do it. They were never going to do more than 4 guys in, 4 guys, no more than 3 in, 3 out. Because 4 was always going to be a bit too many.
You were surprised that it was 3, right? I'm pretty sure you said it'd be max 2.
I thought it was more likely to be 2 before the World Championship, but after Johnny came in, I wasn't after Johnny's run at the Worlds, I probably wasn't surprised that it would end up being 3 at the end. And by the way, you said 8 best darts players in the world, and that should be noting that Gary Anderson doesn't want to play in the Premier League, so arguably it's
that's true, actually. No, that's true. Sorry, that's a good point.
But, so that should be noted as well. Again, I think if the challengers,
sorry, Gary, love you.
very happy to do a Premier League night in Scotland, but
Oh,
yes,
no, that'd be
it's
great
actually
for him.
interesting because again, there's no Scottish representation in the Premier League.
No, that's unfortunate.
With their best player still too young to play in PDC darts, Mitch Lowry. Speaking of which, Josh, that's a good segue.
Yes, excellent segue.
For the Premier League. I think you might have probably watched a little bit of this more than I did. But Kyle Bassel won the Junior World Masters there at Milton Keynes. I should note, because I made a mistake in last week's podcast, the new board that Winmau put out was the Blade X. I keep calling it the old board, which was the Blade 6. It was the Blade X, and I thought I thought the stage looks pretty good in the Winmau sponsorship for the Blade X.
It does look nice.
Kyle Bassel was I think it was a 2-0 in sets winner, 2-0 and 2-1 in legs was the set score. So yeah, he's beginning to emerge a little bit.
Yeah, he is.
Now he lost to Laurie at Ali Pali, but beat him in Milton Keynes. So he's another one to keep an eye on of the many. And once again, another Target.
The many.
Target just has so many players.
Oh, sure. No, he's definitely one to look at. You know, you got the Jane Walkers, the Jack Johnsons, the Archie Selves, the Henry Coates. There's so many names I can just reel off the top of my head who are ones to watch for the future. But he's probably one of those ones that are just a little bit higher in the pecking order. But very, very good result for him. I'm sure he's very happy with that victory over a guy in the name of Mitch Lowry. I've never heard him before. Who's this guy? He's just a man on the scene. Never heard of him.
He's all right. I imagine, look, if he played at Lakeside, I imagine he'd be fantastic. Right.
He only made the final of Lakeside, didn't he?
Yes, he did. PDC Annual Awards.
Yes.
Josh?
Yes, so we had the PDC Annual Awards come through the last couple of days. This was voted by the fans and also through a few other range things, the PDC, the players, the PDPA as well. So no surprise, Littler's racking up the awards there. He won 3 out of the possible 7, I believe. So there's one for Player of the Year, Pro Tour Player of the Year, Best Newcomer, Best Televised Performance of the Year, Village Hotels, so it's where the fans get involved, the Fans Player of the Year, and PDPA Player of the Year, the Winmau Young Player of the Year. So no surprise that Littler won Player of the Year. He won the Fans Player of the Year and also won the Young Player of the Year. And there was a lot of voting of the televised performance of the year, and it was Justin Hood in the World Darts Championship last 16 versus Josh Rock. An unbelievable performance, a man that just emerged out of absolutely nowhere. You'd have to agree on that performance, surely.
Yes, right up there. It was either that or when he played in the second round against Danny Noffert. It was that might have been the best match of the year, but the best performance on the TV was probably his 11 out of 11 first goes at doubles before he mucked around with the match start. But Josh Rock getting absolutely no hope in that match. And thankfully it didn't cost Josh Rock a Premier League spot either.
That's true.
The last 16 of the Worlds, he had done enough at the match playing at the World Cup earlier in the year, and that's another reason why I said Josh Rock probably he didn't have as strong a back end of the year as some. Now he had
probably better
what
we've hoped for
than Van Gogh or a Bunting, but that's also why I was probably not as confident that he will have the strongest Premier League campaign this year. But that was the annual awards. Now, big news here for the US Darts Masters. They moved the dates forward today, Josh, because the FIFA decided that it would be very funny if the US and England played each other in the FIFA World Cup on what was supposed to be the last day of the tournament at like 5 o'clock at MetLife, which is the main stadium in the New York area, but it's actually in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So it was going to be 26th and 27th, but the World Cup game is scheduled for the 27th there at MetLife Stadium. With that being a bit of a clash, they've announced the ticket information and they have quietly moved the dates forward to the 25th and 26th instead of 26th and 27th to avoid a clash with the World Cup. But yeah, that'll be on. So the darts will be on at the same time as the FIFA World Cup. I know what I will be more interested in. It will be seeing, how the Leonard Gates and the likes goes at the US Darts Masters. But should be noted there that with the clash with the FIFA World Cup, not just a clash with the World Cup, but which was kind of known, a clash with England playing in that same city. Well, I say same city in the same area, the New York metropolitan area, is over 4 states that big, but they really did need to move it. So 25th and 26th, we'll see the US Darts Masters of the World Series of Darts goes back to the Madison Square Garden there in New York. Fine venue for anything, but the darts there has really been really strong over the last few years. Modus time in a week. Winner,
More
Van
Modus
Velzen.
for you. Yes, Keanu Van Velzen was your winner for week 2, a 4-2 victory over Tommy Morris, 85 average, 84 highest checkout, 2 maximums in the process. There's Glenn Durrant in the top left of your screen presenting it. That was a pretty cool moment. And
I
there's
did see this morning, the MC, the guy from the Euro Tour, whose last name I can never pronounce, but is usually referred to as Phil, Swiss Phil, even though he's German. He was told directly, he told us directly that he was not offered the MC spot. By the way he said it, he implied that he would have accepted had he says he's never turned down anything the PDC has asked him. But Lewis Jones, who I thought did better than the last few weeks, I think he's getting better
he's getting better.
But no, Swissville apparently not asked to do any of the UK events for the
interesting.
PDC, which is interesting. Anyway, I just
Very interesting.
wanted to mention that seeing Glenn Durrant there in a sort of mini MC role, I guess, at the Modus for that one.
He is doing that.
And Velzen winning in week 2.
Yes, he had Marvin in the crowd as well. Obviously, Marvin Van Velzen is a good player. So he's the second player for Series 13 rather, Champions Week. Steve Green was the winner of week 1 last week, and we go to week 3 this week, a star-studded field. Good to see Archie Self back in. Love the young guns. Steve Lennon, Scott Campbell, some good names. The veteran Paul Hogan's back. Tommy Leishman, who hit a 9 data at this stage.
Yes.
The Most Live Lounge, he is back. Yeah, so some pretty good names. Johnny Haynes as well. He's been pretty good. Lewis Gurney, he returns. So some pretty good names for this week, and 2 days of action in Group A since we're recording on the Wednesday. Patrick Williams so far is in the box seat, 8-2 record with a 16 points and a healthy plus 15 on the leg difference there. Steve Lennon's in second on 14, just behind. So that's the Group A action, but this is the more important stuff. Let's get straight into this.
Aww.
Week 3, Dance Down Under, Season 3, Division 2. I had a 6-0 victory. I had an absolute
These aren't
shocking...
numbers you're supposed to post, Josh. We're not this good.
I know.
I want to make it clear, just going back on what we talked about Gary earlier, we are not the place for advice on how to throw darts. We are awful.
I know. I know.
58 average, my highest is 49.5. By the way, I forgot to add this into the doc. I want to add this into the doc. I hit 3 treble 18s in one turn during the week, which is my best individual turn score of 162. It was off at 308 as well to leave a finish.
Very, very nice.
I was very happy with that. I should have put the photo in the doc. I might do that next week just to prove to people that I did that thing.
You can do that. That's so cool.
That was the 162, but which wasn't as big as your high, which was bigger than your high score in this match of a ton 40, but 23 dart leg in there as well. A 58 average, 49 for the first 9 average, and this is the big one for me. 2/3 on the doubles.
689 on the checkouts. I was channeling my inner Justin Hood. I think I was 3 from 3 at the start. I had a little audience of 5 people spectating.
Sorry.
I know. I'm just taking the mickey. Don't worry. But no, I felt good. I don't know. After the loss and the draw of the first 2 weeks, I just found some form back. I went to the darts shop with Shane and Jaden a couple of weeks ago and got some new equipment. I sort of fine-tuned, and I guess it paid off, or I just had a good game. I don't know. And then Dark Counter got a new feature on that very, very right side of the screen. Got the 3 dart average per leg. So I thought I'd chuck that in. Sort of interesting. I never really... the loss was sort of that 55.
On counter, which is interesting.
Yeah, so I know. I just thought that's sort of cool to look at. The first 2 legs, I was pretty much in that sort of 62 range, dipped a bit, but then got back up. He only had 1 dart at a double, and that was at tops where he.
I was going to say 1 dart double there for your opponent.
Just clicked the wire.
That's how you know you're playing well if you limit them to just the 1 dart there.
Yeah, so my actual scoring wasn't fantastic. It was just the doubles that sort of kept the scoring going. But very happy with that. And we finally have a table for you. JP has done a great job getting that after some troubles. I'm sitting 9th out of the 18 in the table.
Yeah,
again.
There's heaps here, Josh. How many are getting promoted up to Div 1?
I'm not sure, actually. I'll have to ask. I'm not sure. But yeah, expand field, which is great. So more tungsten action for you to report to. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw, 4 points, leg difference of +3. So yeah, after a shaky start, I'm sort of getting back up there. A huge game this week against the admin. But before we get to that, I got some more stats for you. 3 dart average 51. So after that, those 2 shocking weeks, I've sort of brought that back up. Best checkout was at 94. That's pretty good. No 180s as yet, but see what happens this week, and I'm taking on the admin in JP. So that will be a huge, huge fixture, no doubt. He's a very good guy. JP does a fantastic job, and he's probably around my same skill type, around the same average. So that'll be a good game for sure, and we'll keep you updated. So good to get the ladder there, and it's always just good fun. Dustin Under's a great community, and after the game, the boys were texting in the chat saying, "Oh, I couldn't miss a double." I'm like, "Guys, relax." That was like my one good game in 10 fixtures, all right? But no, it's a really good community. So I would recommend jump in for next season, which will be season 4. It's probably in like a couple months. But if you're interested, send us a text and I can get you involved.
58 average. We'll see how far it drops next week, and I'm sure.
Oh, shush.
You can't stay up there all. Oh, Josh, you got to come down for
88. Here I come. I'm on my way to Milton right now. I'll see you soon.
Right, first night of the Premier League, as already mentioned.
Yes, this is more important.
At least give me, Josh. We need to do what we usually do, which is to have a go and put our neck out there with some quarterfinal results, and give me a final as well. Actually, no, we'll do that first, and then I just want you to name 4 names who make finals nights before we start the season. But first, let's go through night 1 first. The first match of the Premier League. A reminder that these are the best of, because Josh always needs a reminder on the format, best of 11 legs.
Oh, so come on. I said first to 6 last time. Beforehand. Yeah, come on, give me some credit for that.
Josh Rock, Northern Ireland, on his debut, takes on the 2021 Premier League darts champion, Johnny Clayton. Reminder, this is in Newcastle. Not sure where to go on this one, Josh. I'm
tough one.
Back and forth.
Me too. Have you got one yet? This is like the first time I've really had a look.
I'm sort of kind of waiting for you to. I think we're both
okay. Sure. I'll start. I reckon we'll go Rocky. I reckon it'll be a close one. We'll go 6-4 in the quarterfinal for the first one.
I was thinking the same scoreline, but the other way. I'll go 6-4.
Okay. Yeah, I like that too. Littler versus Van Dane, the rematch of the 2020.
We usually see this on the opening night, so
trophy. Yes, continues. The final, that is. Let's see about this one. Oh, could Van Dane cause an upset?
Littler for me, 6-3.
That's you. Okay, I'll go Littler as well. Similar scoreline. We'll go 6-4. I'll give Van Dane an extra leg.
All right, Luke Humphries, going Price. This should be interesting.
Both played very well.
These are top players.
Both played very well at the Masters this last weekend. Gezi. We'll go Gezi 6-4.
I'll go with Cool Hand. I'll back in Luke there, but a 6-5 win, a close match there.
Close last legger.
Lastly, now Josh, here's what I'm going to do for the Premier League. You know how what's his name? Glenn McGrath, when he's always asked for his Ashes prediction, he always goes 5-0 England, 5-0 Australia, over England. I'm going to do a similar thing until he wins. I'm going Stephen Bunting 6-5 against Michael Van Gerwen, and I'm going to say it every week that he makes at least a semi-final until he wins a match, which this might only be a 1-week bit, but I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care if he's playing Luke Littler. 6-5 Bunting every week until he wins.
6-5. Good grief. All right.
I do genuinely think this is, if he's going to get off to a good start, this is the... Oh, this match is so important. If he plays,
it is.
Oh, it's going to be a disaster.
It's so important for both, but Premier League wise, Bunting, yeah. Okay, for me.
Are you with me or are you against me with Bunting, just as a result?
That's a good question. I'll back your man again, but I'll give MBG one less leg. We'll go 6-4. I'd say. Let's do that. Bunting 6-4 to set him up for a great campaign.
Team Van Gerwen, but I think this is the 1 week, if anything, and he needs to get off to a good start. He needs to win. He needs to prove himself.
He does.
Right. Well, I was gonna say the obvious, but then you didn't pick Luke. 2 legs week in the final for me. They're better than everybody else at the moment. Does Humphries upstage him after playing really well? You know what? Yes, he does. Luke Humphries 6-5 in the final. We'll have a lot of close matches in the Premier League, I reckon. Josh, Luke Humphries to win the night, 6-5 over Luke Littler. Just that's what came to me. That came to me. Win.
Okay. All right, same one, best of 11. So you want the final and a score?
I want the final. I don't care about. We don't need to worry about semi-finals. Just give me a final.
Okay.
Result.
Oh, all right.
I mean, you can do about semi-finals if you want to, but you
Okay.
can also imply. So I've got Littler to beat Clayton, and then Humphries to pretty easily beat Bunting, but that's implied from what we said earlier and who you say makes the final.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I had Rock and Little. I reckon Rock Little. That's a tasty one for sure. They had a great game at I think it was a match play last year.
Oh, was it ever?
Where it was the second perfect leg. Remember that?
Yeah, the second best leg, the perfect leg, because nobody missed.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, as Wayne said, 180, 180, 180, 1D1, 4-1. Such good commentary on that one. Let's go with Littler. We'll go Littler again. By the side of the bracket, we'll go Gezi Price, Littler Price, and I will back the Welshman in this one. We'll go Price in this one.
So we've split in the third match, but we think the nightly winner will come through there. So
we have. So we'll split there. Final result 6-4. Let's do it. Price will win the first night of the 2026 Premier League. The Welshman will win 6-4.
All right, Josh, I need now a top 4 for the entire league, and ideally a winner as well.
Ideally win. Okay, all right, that's cool. We'll do that.
Sure. Get to 917. So I'll recap mine and give you a winner.
Yes, please.
Littler will finish top ahead of Van Veen and Humphries, either way, 2 and 3. I could see that, and then Go and Price next, and probably below them, Clayton will be the one that just narrowly misses out. Rock will have a decent enough campaign. Bunting will probably do a little bit better than last year, and Van Goen probably struggles.
Okay.
But we could see those guys all still making finals and potentially winning. And Just Rock could win a night easily.
But I reckon he will.
Of those for Luke Littler to do and put things right in the world of darts. He should have won the Premier League last year. He'll put it right this year, and he'll beat either Van Veen or Humphries. Either way, it probably doesn't matter. Littler to winning in the Premier League, not exactly the hottest of takes, but it's what will happen. I'm all about picking what will happen. I don't care whether you say it's boring or we want to do
fair. No, that's fair.
No, I tried to do something a little bit different last week, and Littler won. So
that's true. All right, my 4.
Right.
All right, top spot. Yeah, it'd be Rouge not go Littler just the way he's going. So that's my 1. He will be 2, 3, and 4. I like Price. I'll put Price in the 2 slot. I'll put Humphries at 3. And then who's that last spot? Is it Rock, Clayton, Van Veen, Bunting, or Van Goen? I don't think Bunting and Van Goen will be in that top 4. I'm sorry, love them both, but I don't think they're going to make it. Rock, Clayton, Van Veen, they can all make it. I think for them, it just depends on how their first month or so goes. I reckon for sure. I love Rocky. I love Van. Oh, it's tough. It's really, really tough.
You got to make a decision.
I know. I hate making decisions. People will know that from me. Josh Rock, why not? And I think Van Veen will just be on that fringe and will miss out. I love Van Veen too, you know that. And Clayton will be in that 6th spot. But I mean, look, I say all this, we say all this, but it could be so different. We know that. And it could very well be that way. But hopefully it's going to be a cracking tournament. And then my winner, I haven't got a winner yet. My winner.
Littler put things right. Does Price he hasn't been overly strong in the Premier League over the years, but he was better last year because he finally warmed to the format. I imagine you put Humphries in there as well, Humphries was in there. Does he go back to back, or does Josh Rock win it on debut?
That'd be so cool. I don't think he will, unfortunately. I'd love to see him too. Price in the final. Who will he be taking on?
Well, you've limited down to the 2 legs now.
I have. You think it'd be? Oh God.
He did play so lovely at the weekend, Luke Humphries.
He did.
He played so lovely. He was probably a better player with a poor first round match from. He's probably the better player over in a consistency level, but Littler reached heights.
Yeah,
especially in the second round.
All right. Goen v Humphries, and the Welshman will take it out. But again, this is extremely, we're 17 weeks out.
We're putting this together on the run.
Like literally, this is like half off the fly. Let's do a revised prediction, like what, 6 weeks or so?
Let's wait to week 8. That'll be halfway through the main season, and everyone will play each other at least once at that point.
That's a good idea.
And probably several times more. I'm not sure if I'll do the spreadsheet again, Josh, that I tried to do last year, and I kept leaving it to last minute.
That's okay.
But maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do it every second week instead. That might be better.
That's cool.
A better way of doing it.
Up to you. No worries.
Right, last week we had a women's match in the darts archive. Bo Greaves got the win.
She did.
Bounce outs there.
She took on Mayumi. It was very, very close. It was very good quality scoring throughout. She went to a last leg to start at 4 legs apiece. Bo was fantastic in that last leg. She hit 2 140s in that last leg at a very crucial time, and she set up double late after 15 darts after 5 visits and broke the throw of Mayumi and won a very classic game at the WDF World Masters semi-final in 2022.
Now, Josh, I have levels to my. Have you seen the darts archive? You haven't?
No,
I've got levels to this one, Josh. So it's the Premier League.
About to click
I
it.
found something, and I think I actually mentioned it in. I may have mentioned this in the 9 Dart podcast on editions gone by. I was very excited to find this. So I have a match for you, but the YouTube thing that will come up next is not just of the match, but it's of the entire Premier League night, because someone was at the night, recorded it, and has put the whole thing up on YouTube. And I want people to watch as much of this as they can, because there's a great atmosphere around this event of this night in action. It's in Bournemouth, which we don't go to Premier League darts anymore for.
No, we don't.
It's the BIC, the Bournemouth International something or another centre or something. It must be something like that. It was in 2006, Raymond van Barneveld, after playing several years in the BDO, finally made the big decision to switch to the PDC. He was given the wild card, and in Bournemouth, he played Phil Taylor in the Premier League for the first time. So that's Peter Manley who's on the screen.
Oh my God! Wow.
But he played Barney in the first match, and you should watch that match. There's an interesting thing that happens in that first match between Barney and Manley, very famous. But at 2:39:45 is when the walk-ons begin. Essentially, you should watch the walk-ons. I love the graphics for this era of the Premier League. They used to do this a lot with the Premier League. They'd have individual graphics for the guys there, and a lot of in this edition they were all like dressed up in like superheroes costumes for the 7 guys who were in the Premier League. Was a 7 players back then in 2005 2006. Great atmosphere. Barney had played Peter Manley earlier in the night. That's him there. A great atmosphere, and this is what I was talking about earlier about how the Premier League format's a bit of a slog. This was when the Premier League was something different. It was the best of 14 legs. So
best of 14, a big draw.
Potential of a 7-7 draw. You had guys playing once a night. The atmosphere was special, and obviously darts atmosphere is always great. But I feel like you watch this and go, this is what the Premier League could be and should be even now these days. And if we can. Obviously, we've got more than 7 players worthy of the Premier League these days, and I felt like if we can get a proper qualification format, even something like to be selected as a wild card, you have to win a tournament throughout the year. So, and then we couldn't have people say, "Well, Danny Noppachim in the Premier League." Well, he wasn't eligible for a wild card because he didn't win a tournament. I'm just saying, or maybe you have to make a final or something, or maybe it's final on the TV, win a Euro Tour or Pro Tour title. Maybe you leave the Pro Tours alone, but. I feel like that there's so much potential for the Premier League. I want to love it. I think it's still a great concept, but I feel like we see so much knockout darts that this was something different. It was 6 guys played once. Barney played twice on this night across 4 matches. Best of 14 legs, so possibility of a draw. Break after 6 legs as well. It had a different feel to it, and I feel like that's something we could see easily from the Premier League if the PDC ever cut their losses with this format and try to bring back something different. It's what I would do with the Premier League. First thing I'd do is bring back challenges, and the second thing I'd do was make sure the format had the potential of draws during those first several weeks. And I'd probably pop over a night over in Poland as well. Maybe try and expand it as well. That's just some of the ideas that I would do. But check out Rainbow Barneveld versus Phil Taylor. They played each other a few times previously, most notably in 1999 when they were the rival world champions, and Taylor smoked Barney on that occasion. But this is the Premier League. Barney's a better player at this point. He switched over to the PDC, and this was really built up as something really special and a really rare event. And it was done that because Barney and Taylor didn't play each other constantly. But that's we've talked about the Premier League format enough. Right, Josh, that's it for the show. Thank you so much for seeing us. Well, Masters.
Pleasure as always.
Fun. And again, talking about format, it's a different event with the best of 3 legs of set. Makes every leg so crucial.
Very much so.
It was a lot of fun, a lot of really, as we talked right at the start, a lot of really interesting moments. Gary Anderson, absolutely amazing, as was both Luke. So fascinated to see how the Premier League gets underway in Newcastle, and if we put aside our problems with the format and just go, these are the best players in the world we're going to be watching for the next 17 weeks, 16 for half of them, 17 for the other half. we'll be able to get through it all right. So next week, Josh, we have the Premier League. The Pro Tour is back as well over the Monday and Tuesday. So interested to see how the likes of, Mervyn King, Bo Greaves and Charlie Mann, Adam Leake should be open, hopefully, fingers crossed. He actually did an interview with the guys at Dartstream Live.
I did see that.
Back. Yes, I watched it.
Declan Bailey and the other bloke,
Yeah. I can't remember the other guy's name. Yes,
he's got a huge beard. I know that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It was a well done interview, apart from the fact that Adam Lee kept dropping out several times. But
the screen,
But apart from that, it was a good interview. Go check it out there with Dartstream Live. It's available on their Facebook and YouTube page. Not far away from the ADA getting up and going as well, Josh, which is exciting. I also saw as a promo for it, Sunday events for all the tournaments will be set play as well, which is interesting. We've got Pro Tours and we've got the Premier League. The big things coming up this week. We'll recap it all before we head to Antwerp for the first ever Premier League night in Belgium, which I am genuinely really looking forward to seeing how that night goes. Any last words, Josh?
No. Thanks for everyone being here. Spotify, Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts, we are now there. So, yes, of course.
This episode will be made available as an audio only in the morning, Thursday morning, Australian times, but it'll be up on YouTube before then, obviously, as is the way we go. Well done, Josh. Another good episode, I thought. Some differences of opinions there with regards to the Premier League.
It's good. It's good. It'd be boring if it was just all the same, for sure. Yeah, and I'll also be writing an article, doing a little mini preview of the tournament. So that'll be on the Extra Time News channel, and then it'll be documented on our feeds shortly. Hopefully get it out by tonight or early tomorrow. So enjoy that.
That's extratimemedia.com. This has been the 9 Dart Podcast.